In this video, I am going to explain about priority scheduling. I will explain what is priority scheduling with the help of an example. So let us assume that I have four processes P1, P2, P3 and P4. So here we have the burst times of these processes in milliseconds. So P1 requires 10 milliseconds of CPU time in order to finish its execution. Okay, so and here we have one more column, that is priority. Here we are giving the priority to each and every process. So here if you observe, process P2 priority is 1. That means this is the highest priority process. This is the highest priority process. Okay, so priorities are similar to ranks. First rank is better, right? So in the similar way, here priority 1 means it's the highest priority and priority 4 is the lowest priority. So among all the processes, P2 has the highest priority and P3 has the low priority. Okay, so in the priority scheduling, the processes will be executed in the order of their priority. Okay, highest priority process will be executed first, then low priority process will get its turn. Here if you observe, P2 is the highest priority process, so it will be executed first. After that, this one will be executed, P1. After that, so P4 will get the chance, and in last P3 will get the chance. So this is the order of execution. That means in the priority scheduling, we will give CPU to the processes in the order of their priorities. Highest priority process will get the CPU first and lowest priority process will get the CPU last. Okay, so here I have given the Gantt chart for all these processes. We know that Gantt chart is nothing but a schedule of these processes. That means at what time which process should be executed. Here if you observe, all the processes are arrived at time 0. Okay, so now I am at time 0. So now all the processes are in the queue. So which process should be selected now? So here P2 is the highest priority process. So P2 will get the CPU first. So it requires 4 milliseconds of CPU time. So we have given 4 milliseconds of CPU time. So at this time P2 finished its execution. So after that, what is the next one? Here P1. So we will give chance to the P1. It will be executed for 10 milliseconds of time. So it will finish its execution at this time. So 4 plus 10, 14. So after that P4 will get the chance. Okay. So how much time it will take? So it will take 7 milliseconds of time to finish its execution. So at this time it will finish its execution. Then so P3 will get the chance. So it will be executed for 5 milliseconds of time. So at this time it will finish its execution. Okay, so finally Gantt chart represents at what time which process will get the CPU and at what time it should release the CPU and how much time it will be executed. Gantt chart represents these points. Okay, so now we will see the waiting time of each and every process. What is the waiting time of P2? 0. Okay, what is the waiting time of P1? 4. It has to wait 4 milliseconds. Then what is the waiting time of P4? 14. So here I have written 14. What is the waiting time of P3? 21. Then what will be the average waiting time? 0 plus 4 plus 14 plus 21 by number of entries are 4. So 39 by 4. That means 9.7 milliseconds. This is the average waiting time. So in average, each and every process is executing 9.7 milliseconds of time. Okay. So this is known as priority scheduling. So what is the advantage with priority scheduling? So a process which has the highest priority will be executed first. So we are giving priority to the important processes. Okay, that is the advantage with priority scheduling. Okay, then do we have any disadvantages or problems with priority scheduling? Yes, we have problems with the priority scheduling. So what is the problem? Let us assume that here I have another process P5. Okay, so let us assume that P5 priority is 127. Let us assume that I have in total 500 processes. Okay, and one process priority is 500. That means it is the lowest priority process. Okay, so it has to wait until all the processes finish its execution. Okay, let us assume that all the processes up to 499 has finished its execution. Okay, so before finishing the execution of these processes, let us assume that some more processes came with higher priority. Okay, so while executing these, first we should finish 499 processes, right? Then only we should execute the 500. So let us assume that while we are executing these 499 processes, meanwhile some other processes has entered into the queue which has the highest priority. Let us assume that priority is 4, 14, 40, like that. We have so many processes has entered into the queue. Now this process which has the priority 500 will not get the chance, right? So it should wait indefinitely. Okay, there is no limit, right? So it should wait for long period of time. That is called indefinite blocking, or we can call it as starvation. That means we are not giving CPU to this process. Okay, we are giving CPU to only high priority processes. So continuously high priority processes are entering into the queue and they are getting the chance, they are executing, they are finishing its turn, but this process will not get the chance, right? So this problem is called indefinite blocking, or we can call it as starvation. Okay, so now, so what is the solution to this problem? So yes, for every problem there is a solution, right? So here also we have solution to this problem. What is the solution to this problem? Aging. Aging is the solution to this problem. So then what is aging? So here if you observe, we have 500 processes, and out of 500, here process 500, that means process which has the priority 500 is indefinitely waiting, right? It is not getting its turn, right? So now the solution is aging, right? So in this concept what happens is it is continuously waiting, indefinitely waiting, right? So this process will undergo aging. Then this process comes under aging, a process which waits for indefinite amount of time, so which gets a starvation, will come under aging. Okay, so what happens if a process comes under aging? The process, for that process, the priority will be increased. Okay, so let us assume that initial priority 500 and it has not got its chance, right? CPU is not allocated to this process, it is indefinitely blocking or starvation. Then when it comes under aging, so this concept what it will do is it will increase the priority of the process. It will increase the priority of the process. Okay, let us assume that, so 15 minutes, after 15 minutes of time, so the processes which are under aging, their priority will be incremented by 1. Okay, so after first 15 minutes, so its priority changed to 499. After 15 minutes, its priority changed to 498. So like that. After some hours, okay, after spending some hours, it may get priority as 5, right? So that means, so in this case, the process which has the priority number 500, that priority will be changed to 5. Now it can get the chance for execution, right? So in this way, by using the aging concept, we can increment the priority so that this process will get the chance for execution. Okay, so this is the solution to the priority scheduling problem.